Hello, welcome. Hi, I am Whitney Kobrin and I am a love coach. And today, with our theme being about finances, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the ROI, the return on investment for coaching. There are a lot of different kinds of coaching. Most people think of a life coach, uh, and there are also business coaches, career coaches, and as I mentioned, I am a love coach. So when people are thinking about spending money on getting help, having somebody to guide them and support them, oftentimes they're hesitant about spending that money. They want to know exactly, what am I going to get out of this? And in business, it's easy to measure the return on investment because the money that you spend on consulting services or equipment or training oftentimes will equate to a product or an outpouring of money as well. So you spend money to make money. Even a career coach, we spend money to have someone help us with our resume, with our interviewing, with finding a job, with understanding what we're good at and what our purpose is. But often we can still measure this in terms of money and finances. And when it comes to a love coach, the return that people get is not going to be money. So, how do you measure the return on investment? So, I'm going to take my time in answering this question, and I'm going to do it by telling all of you a bit about my life and my story and how I got to this point of being a love coach and understanding and empathizing with the challenges that women face today, and how I came to understand the lessons that I now teach in my 90-day program called Love Yourself and Love Your Life. My story starts when I was 13 years old. I am feeling very sad and I'm crying at home. My mom comes over to me and asks me, "Whitney, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" And I'm so embarrassed and I don't want to say, and I just say, "Nothing, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be fine." And my mom pries and asks me again, knowing that something must be wrong. And I finally tell her, "No boys like me." And looking back, I can laugh at that. But at the time, I really was feeling like I must not be good enough. I must not be as good as everyone else that seems to be getting this attention. And I know that this also stemmed from not having my father around. My parents divorced and we moved to another state, and I just didn't see him and didn't have him in my life for a long time. And it led me to this feeling of just needing the love and affection from boys or from a male. And I know that a lot of women out there can relate to this. And I find that several women that I've worked with are in this place currently. No one likes me. I'm not good enough. And what happens is the reaction to this is to try to be what people want. So this can look like the "I'll make you love me" pattern, where if this person says they want a brunette and you're blonde, you dye your hair. Or if this person says that they, will only date someone in a certain profession, that you try to be that, or that you try to do things for them to prove your value and prove your worth. For example, if you really like someone and you want it to work out and that person's not giving you a lot of attention, you might say, "Well, I'll come to your house and I'll cook and I'll clean up and I'll take care of you and I'll rub your feet." And it's really a desperate plea, even if the person doesn't want to seem desperate or feel like they are desperate. It is interpreted that way. So that's really where my story starts, and that was my first struggle and the first lesson that I learned, because throughout my teens and 20s, I felt this way. I felt not good enough. I felt like I just wanted someone. And so anyone that came along, I would go along with and give myself away or try to create some sort of connection. And I ended up pregnant and having my son at 24, which was really a wake up call for me in my own growth and maturity. And all of us get to this point where we realize, wait a minute, I don't know everything. My life's not perfect. And I know that there's something better. And for me, I didn't know about coaching. Gosh, I wish I had a life coach or a love coach back when I was 25. I took the long way. But I started reading books. I joined Audible, and since around 2007, I've been a member of Audible, listened to about one book a month that have tremendously helped my life. Um, and I had a realization that I didn't need to go along with just any guy that came along that liked me. I had the power to choose who I wanted to be with. And for me, that was a big realization. And again, I think there are a lot of women out there who still aren't quite at that point yet. Many are, and I'll continue to explain other points that we get to as I continue along my journey. But once I realized that I could choose someone, I found someone that I really liked who was perfect on paper, perfect resume, if you will. He was tall and adorable and had a great job. We had a lot in common. We were the same age, same background, and we had fun together. And we were together for about a year, and I just wasn't feeling very fulfilled. I wasn't getting enough of his time. I could tell that he wasn't fully invested. And what I recognize now is he was not emotionally available. And I finally got the nerve to confront him about this and said, "You say you love me, but I don't feel loved." And his response was, "Why don't you just push down your emotions like I do?" Whoa. And of course, I broke up with him at that point and had my next epiphany moment, which was, not only do I need to choose my partner, but I need to choose them for the way they treat me and the way they make me feel, not just their qualifications or if they look good on paper or if they're good looking or how other people will think of them. The most important thing is how the person makes you feel. So if you're with someone that you love and you think is amazing, but they make you feel bad about yourself, that's a wake up call. So continuing along my journey, after I broke up with this boyfriend, I met um, my late husband, and he treated me amazingly. So I had finally found someone that I really liked, who also chose me and who treated me amazingly. And unfortunately, after a few years together, my husband passed away from back surgery. And in everything in life, even in the worst tragedies, there are lessons to be learned. And one of the things that I came to learn, which sadly we never had the opportunity to fully grow through this together, but I learned that I still had trouble with setting boundaries and speaking up for myself. And I had a tendency to be a people pleaser, to be very accommodating, apologize even if something wasn't my doing. And so after my husband passed, I again was working on myself, and I found myself in a position where I wasn't dating. I wasn't trying to be in a relationship. I knew that I needed to give myself at least a year off to grieve and process and handle my emotions and get my life together. And interestingly, during this time, I was very much leading with my masculine energy. So I do a lot of work around feminine energy and masculine energy and polarity. And just so you know, every person, male or female, has both masculine and feminine energy inside of them. So nobody's all one thing or the other, but we do have one that we primarily lead with. And if you know me at all or have seen my shows, you know that I'm a very feminine woman, that I'm able to surrender, that I'm able to have magnetizing power, that I am able to go with the flow and have emotions and be okay with that. Um, but at that time, I found myself really leading with my masculine energy. I had to take care of things, I had to be in control. Um, I had to um, not, be in the surrendering role. And I mention this because I find that a lot of women these days, without even knowing it, having no idea, they are leading with their masculine energy. So, what does that look like? Leading with your masculine energy often comes from people who are working in a career that's male dominated. I mean, we live in this male dominated world, and where everything is about direction and progress and pushing forward and accomplishments, whereas the feminine energy is more about surrender and receiving and nurturing. And so when people are constantly working and being praised for the things that they do in their career and their job, and whether that's getting a promotion or getting a new job or accomplishing something within their current role, this is great. As I mentioned, everybody has masculine and feminine energy. So women have this ability to tap into our masculine energy, to get things done, to accomplish and achieve. And the challenge comes, though, because they don't know how to turn it off. And they don't know that when you go on a date, if you want a masculine man, if you want a guy to fill that role, that masculine role, then the polarity concept requires that you take the feminine end of the pole in order to have that. So many women who are used to being in this male dominated world, they're out for to prove something, to prove that they're enough, to prove that they can play with the big boys, to prove that they're not weak, because many people see feminine as weak. And so they end up competing for that top position with their date or their partner or their husband or boyfriend or lover. And when two people are competing for the same spot, it just does not work. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who can relate to that, that at some point you have to be able to let one person fill one role and let the other person fill the other role when you're together in those intimate moments. So I experienced this leading with my masculine energy. And I think it was kind of by design, because I wasn't looking for a man. But after a year, when I started working as a matchmaker, I decided I was open to dating. And that's when, I had taken the time off to really work on myself. And I was finally at a place where I didn't need anybody. I felt whole. I felt complete. I felt confident and comfortable in my own skin for the first time ever while dating. And it's no coincidence that in that moment of feeling confident, whole, complete, and not needy, that I met my now partner, who I've been with for over 2 years. Um, so that was my other epiphany was, it started with I don't have to just go along to get along. I don't need to just go with whoever chooses me, but I have the right to also choose the right partner for myself. And then it evolved to, okay, then I also need to make sure that that person is treating me the way that I deserve to be treated, that I have the relationship that I want to have, not just the person I want to have. And then it evolved to what makes a relationship work in the long run, the lasting. And that's having a balance between being able to love and accept and go along and be easygoing, but also to stand up for yourself, to speak up, to have boundaries, and to make those boundaries clear in a loving way. And then the next step of my own evolution was to really feel whole and complete as myself, and to know that I don't really need anyone, but that I do want someone, and that somebody who is on my same level and evolved and knowledgeable themselves, that that kind of partnership would really add to my own life and make it amazing, and not just fill a hole or fill a void that needed to be filled. So this journey has taken me to a place where now, over the past few years, as I've been working as a matchmaker and a love coach and learning about life coaching, that now I understand what it means to be in your body and to get out of your head. And so that is another lesson that has been hugely impactful on my own life, starting to meditate, starting to do a feminine flow practice, which I teach all of my clients. Um, and I've also learned um, just to accept my own feminine nature. We are emotional creatures, and I don't mean to prolong a stereotype, because there are stereotypes of, you know, women belong in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And I'm not a believer of these old stereotypes, but I do believe that what has happened with feminism has really made the pendulum swing far in the opposite direction. So men and women must have equal rights. And that's what feminists fought for in the beginning, was we both have the right to work, we both have the right to own property, we both have the right to vote, we have the same rights. But to say that men and women are exactly the same and that there's really no difference would be to deny science and biology. And not everybody fits into these categories. Maybe 80% of women are fully leading with their feminine energy, or identify as feminine, and maybe 80% of men identify as masculine. So there are people who are outside of those structures. But I think what our common belief in society is now is that almost everybody falls outside of that, and that gender is a social construct, and gender is something that we create and choose. And I know not everyone will want to agree with me, and that I'm maybe pushing the envelope here, but I will stand firm in my belief that most women are feminine, and most women are built the way that we're built because of our evolution. There the evolution the evolutionary process over millions of years has created not only our physical form, but our mental, and the way that our brains work. There is scientific evidence that men are more problem solving focused, and that women are more concerned, or women have structures in the brain that are more highly developed around nurturing and relationships and harmony. And so that's natural. And when we go against our natural way of being, we end up, out of our own alignment. And so I find that most of the women that I work with, they start out with goals like, I want to feel more relaxed because I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, I'm unhappy. So they want to feel more relaxed. And that's definitely something that I've um, I don't want to say mastered, because of course I'm still growing and learning myself, but that I've really gotten a handle on is my own relaxation. Another thing that women want help with is they often just can't make relationships work. And I work mostly with single women. And single women will tell me all the time, oh, there's no good men out there. I just don't know how to choose them. My picker is broken. Or they find themselves in the same patterns over and over again. Um, if you want to know more about patterns, I've done a few other videos you can watch about the damaging dating patterns that women often repeat and fall into. Um, but one of the other goals that women often come to me with is that they want that partner. They want someone that's going to not cause them stress and anxiety in a bad relationship, but someone that's going to bring out the best in them and encourage and support and love them. And so the process that I take during my 90-day program, Love Yourself and Love Your Life, is not about finding a man, because what I have found is when you become the best version of yourself, when you become someone that can consciously choose your reactions and to be relaxed and to be happy and confident and to feel whole and complete, that your partner will show up. I do have another class that I teach about online dating and how to communicate and how to find that partner, and more about masculine and feminine polarity. But that's the advanced version. We have to start with the self. I do these programs. I do one-on-one individual coaching, but I also do group coaching with this Love Yourself, Love Your Life program. And the group coaching is really amazing too, because I get women from all different backgrounds and thoughts. And, I'll have one on one end who has, who doesn't have strong boundaries, who's been a bit of a pushover, who's a people pleaser. And on the other end of the spectrum, I'll have a woman who's type A, take control, very driven, accomplished. And when they're in the same group with each other, they illustrate my points so well, because these women recognize that not everybody sees the world the way that they do, that there is another perspective, and that being an extreme on either side of that spectrum can be damaging. And the goal there is to find a balance between being giving, generous, receiving, surrendering, while also having very firm boundaries and being able to speak up for yourself. So, through this program, the result is that people feel more comfortable, embodied, comfortable in their own skin, more at ease, more relaxed, less overwhelmed and stressed, and that they're able to date in a way that they've never been able to before, where they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves, they're relaxed, and the right kind of guys are showing up and sticking around. So that's a little bit about my life journey and how my life journey has led to create this love coaching program for women who are stressed out, overwhelmed, and just don't want to be single forever. And I absolutely love what I do, and I open up the opportunity. If you're watching this and if any of this resonates with you, I offer free 1 hour consultations for anyone. So go to my website, hearthunterslovecoaching.com, sign up for an appointment, and we'll just talk. I'll get to know you and your story, your patterns, as well as what you're looking for, what you'd like to get out of your life, how you'd like to feel. and we could see if this might be a fit and what kind of program would work for you, whether it's the 3 month, the 6 month, individual coaching, or group coaching. But sending out love to everyone, and I hope to hear from you. Thank you.